proceed. So as of today, they have not even met to discuss the possibility of issuing that bond issue. And clearly don't know what the structure of that would look like, let alone the timing or whether we would get, or what we would get from it. So again, as of today, we are $1.25 million in the hole from last year for not getting, well, I guess it's still the current year, for not getting the PlanCon reimbursement. And we have budgeted in our budget for next year another $1.25 million. That, as of this sitting, there's no reason to believe we're going to get next year either. That's the biggest ticket item that I see hanging out there at the state level for us.
Well, thanks for bringing us up to speed on that.
Mr. Hall, what effect did the passing of the current budget have on our revenues from the state for this year?
Passing of the current budget, excluding the PlanCon issue, was about $150,000 less than we budgeted for. And that's because they played a game with the Social Security reimbursement. And they only allocated 10 months worth of Social Security funds. Again, if you exclude that piece, then they were about $100,000 better than we anticipated. The education grants and the special education grant, things of that nature. It is those two items, the Social Security reimbursement and PlanCon reimbursement, both of which are reimbursement subsidies that we were well behind the budget on. And clearly it's something that they were using as a way of balancing, theoretically, the state budget.
Well, I've spoken to several legislators about the pension program, and it's my opinion that the issue is not going to be resolved unless there's a structural change in the pension program. That's the only way we can get some sort of solution. And the response I get from everyone is that cannot be done because they are bound to live up to the pension program due to the Pennsylvania State Constitution. So I think we're probably going to be stuck with this until I understand the fund becomes solvent in 2042, I believe. It's
about a generation.
Yeah, and that's basically because people are going to die, and that's how we're going to solve the problem. So.
Mr. Sunshine.
Any other comments on supports for the government intergovernmental affairs?
My kids are counting.
No. Dr. Milish, would you care to take the finance?
Sure, on that happy note, I will talk about finance here. Last meeting, we discussed a number of items. We have that we placed on tonight's agenda. We have the general fund bills. We have the capital project fund bills. We have budget transfers. We have payroll for the month of May 2016. General insurance approval, workers' compensation insurance approval, facilities use fee schedule, natural gas contracts, copier maintenance contract, and the 2016-17 consumable supplies agreements, arts, athletics, medical, physical education, sciences, and technology education. The superintendent recommends, and I so move, that the board approve these finance items 1 through 10.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Mrs. Bay, would you care to give us the Support Services Committee report?
Yes, thank you. Our last meeting in executive session, we discussed these 4 items. Number 1, design and construction of management service contract, lunch, breakfast, and morning care prices, change order for landscaping project at Westview Elementary School, change order for sidewalk replacement project at Westview Elementary School. The superintendent recommends, and I so move, that the board approve support services items 1 through 4.
Second.
I have a question. I have a question on number 4, this change order for the sidewalk at Westview. It's not a huge amount, well, it's 5% of the contract. I mean, how did this come about that it wasn't in the original contract?
If you go over to Westview along Chalfont Avenue,
Yes.
there's a section along through there where the curbing had deteriorated very, very badly, and a couple of years ago, we replaced the curbing along through there. And so when we did the original design here, we didn't replace that curbing. Once we had awarded it, and the contractor came out and started surveying and so forth, he pointed out to us that the new sidewalk was not going to match the elevations of the old replacement curb, because the old replacement curb was placed to match the undulations in the existing sidewalk that had been sitting there for X number of years. The new sidewalk was going to be properly elevated and properly leveled. So the question was, did you want a curb that didn't match your sidewalk any longer on that piece of the roadway, whereas the rest of it, we were already replacing the curb as well as the sidewalk. And we decided that we're going to recommend to the board that we replace that section of curbing along with all the rest of the curbing and sidewalk.
Well, I guess my question is, when they come out and do the original bid, I mean, this is a curb, it's front and center. It's not like, I understand, like we're digging a sewer line. Oftentimes when we dig, we find something that wasn't supposed to be there, or something that wasn't on the drawing. But the curb is out there for everybody. I mean, anyone can see the curb, and this is my question about this. I mean, that wasn't seen at the time.
It clearly was not in our specifications. We did not include in the documents, and in our expectation, we did not include that curbing. So when we did the design work, we anticipated reusing that curbing. We subsequently agreed with the contractor that, yeah, we can reuse that curbing, but it's not going to look right. So, and if the board wants to reuse that curbing, they can vote down this change order.
Well, I'm not saying that.
Curbing
I'm just
is adequate as curbing.
yes, I mean, this seems as something that maybe could have been pointed out during the initial bidding process. That's.
Well, contractors don't go out and look and tell you what they're going to bid on. They bid on the document you give them.
It was a design oversight. That's, I don't think that's all that can be said. It was an error. I don't even know it was an error, because you did have that.
No, the curbing's adequate, so it's not an error. The issue is that it's not even as the sidewalk undulates. So as they even out the sidewalk, you're gonna have a curb that undulates on an even sidewalk. And the curbing's newer. It's not the original sidewalk and curb. So that's where you have a newer curbing. We should just replace the sidewalk. But now as the contractor begins, and as any construction project, the change order process begins, you get this as an option put in front of you.
And could it possibly be a safety hazard?
Yes.
People
tripping.
are
Definitely.
Tripping.
I don't think I'd push the safety hazard, no.
Okay.
It's got to be
You're
looked at,
putting
like
in
you say.
you're putting a very sizable amount of money into putting a nice visual sidewalk all the way from the gym doors, all the way down, up that road and all the way down Chalfont. And you're gonna have this 190-foot section where the curbs don't look the same, because you could never make older concrete look the same as newer concrete. Concrete that one company put in look the same as concrete another company put in, and will not follow the contour, the new contour of the sidewalk.
Dave, is the
Will it
change
function?
order,
It will function.
is the change order following the unit prices that they had, that they bid on, the unit price for curbing?
Well, the unit price they bid on for curbing was $45 a square foot, and they're giving it to us, I believe it was either $35 or $30 a square
So
foot.
they're actually going under the unit price that was in their bid, they were the winning bid.
Well, substantially under their
Okay.
unit price.
Okay,
But again, the unit price assumed they were gonna have to go out and set up everything and take out 10 foot aside of curb.
anyway,
They're
they still
getting
went under the unit
190 foot
price.
at a time. It is well under what they bid as unit pricing.
Can I say something before we vote? I want to make a adjustment. I had said we would discuss these in executive session. It was a work session.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
you like the word executive session.
I
don't
like
you?
it.
Yes.
I like it.
Any additional comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And then we have one question. What is the construction timetable looking like? I know we're still early in the summer, but how?
Everything is
how we
going along
track?
pretty nicely. The stage floor is done. It looks very nice, I believe. We're working along very nicely on the computer room. I think they've got all the rooms in the third floor, about half the second floor painted, as far as the inside classrooms. Still got to do corridors. The playground excavation
Yeah, I've seen that.
is well underway and is now a nice big mud puddle today. But I'm sure that will drain off nicely. But no, they're well on time for that. And the playground, the PTA themselves have completed a purchase of the playground equipment. So it's ready to go in along with the playground itself. The sidewalk part has not started yet. They're scheduled for mobilization on the 20th. But no, as far as I can tell, we're on schedule with everything. The biggest thing that is happening and is a nasty is the masonry people are up on, they're working on cleaning and repointing and so forth of the brick
Right.
on the facade of the building. And they have found that there are a number of lintels holding up the brick over top of the windows in the original section of the building, where the lintels, which are steel platforms welded to the original steel I-beams, have rusted through and have broken off of the I-beams, and therefore have to be repaired, which basically means taking out several rows of brick above the windows, pulling out the old lintels, putting in and welding in new lintels, and replacing the bricking. Not an inexpensive process. We're still analyzing which exact windows have to be done and what are the best ways to accomplish it, to try to get a price per unit on that. It's probably going to be about $2,500 to $3,000 per window, and you're probably looking at 8 or 9 windows.
Okay. No, it's an old building. It's not a surprise.
And it is all on the original 1930s section of the building that the issue has occurred. The roofing work is going well too.
Thank you.
Are there additional public comments?
We need to vote.
Yeah, we need to adjourn, right?
We voted.
We
We
voted on
voted, we need
it.
to adjourn.
I don't know which-
We did vote on it. And you made a comment.
That was a comment. This isn't a comment, it's a question. Dave, has anything been happening with Seville School? Have we had anybody else look at it, or?
And actually, I got a phone call just the other day from an individual who wants to look at it for the possibility of an office building.
Thank you.
He was supposed to contact Kevin and set up a time. I don't know whether he's going to say yet or not.
Okay, thank you.
Any other board comments? Public comments? Mr. Barr, did you sign in?
Yes, I
Is there a sign-in sheet there? Okay, Mr. Barr. Mike, do we have to reread the?
No.
Okay.
I'm Jim Barr, live in Westview Borough. I was recently at the Ross Township Crime Watch meeting, and the officer there, 28-year veteran, I believe, he was telling the participants about a distraction driving program that he would love to present to the students at North Hills. And so my question is directed towards particularly the board members, because he said the administration said it couldn't be done or they weren't interested. I don't know what exactly the thing was. But I'm here tonight to make sure that the board members indeed know that there's this program about, when you're driving, that you use your hands for driving and not for texting or eating or anything. And he was so passionate about it that I asked him, I said, well, what did the school board say? And he said, well, the administration wasn't in favor of it, but I wanted to make sure that the board members are aware of this.
I can correct that right now, because we work closely with both police departments. We meet with them on a regular basis, and I know that the administration met with the chiefs 2 weeks ago, and this was a topic of discussion. We do a lot of things about public safety because we share the same groups of people on the road. We've talked about this and a number of items. So I'll tell you right now that the administration is absolutely interested in them presenting to our kids about this.
Well, I accomplished my goal, and I wanted
You
to make
did.
sure that the board knew about it also, so everybody's working together, and I love it. So, this officer really was passionate about this, and he couldn't understand why he couldn't come up and give this presentation. And, it's going to save lives, I mean, my
Absolutely.
goodness. So, that's all I have, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Barr.
you.
Any other comments? Ms. O'Brien?
I hope you don't mind that I speak twice, because I can't get here very often. And what I really wanted to say the next time I got to a meeting was something about the production of our school board meetings and events on TV. And I was wondering if there's any way that we can improve those productions. And it's nothing against you at all, really. That's okay. You do the best with what you have, I know. But I know that the night of the school board debate, that was televised, and it was beautiful. We could see everything and understand everything, I guess because it was done at the auditorium with the facilities. But really, when I look at those productions, I can't hear very well, I can't see who's speaking, and I just think it's a communication tool that could be improved a little bit. And it's been a problem for a long time, so just something to consider maybe next year. The other thing I wanted to say is I was so proud when I received this production. Made me so happy about our school district. We have an excellent school district, and it really helps with the property values. And when people see this, they want to move in here. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you for your
Joe,
comment.
before we go, I had a question. Are you seeing the meetings on Comcast or Verizon?
Comcast.
Okay, that's good. And I think I could just want to give the board a little bit of background here. The equipment that we use to feed our signal in to the Comcast customers is provided by Comcast, and it's pretty old. The Verizon people came in and they gave us brand new fiber optic stuff, and the difference between what you see on Verizon and Comcast is night and day. So perhaps I could meet with some of our administrators, and maybe we could put a little pressure on Comcast to try to change that.
Chris and I also talked about the fact of producing more ideas that go in line with the book that you're talking about, to talk about more of our programs and the things that are happening in this district to get that word out. So you and I have already talked about that piece. We could just continue that conversation to make sure those that do have Comcast are getting the same quality with those at Verizon are. And that way we can meet the goal that we had talked about before with getting some of the fantastic things that are occurring in this district out to the community on a regular basis.
Okay. Right, thanks, Joe.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mrs. O'Brien. Like to have a motion to adjourn.
Steve, you can vote.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay.